Good morning, traders. How we doing out there? Welcome to the one, the only pre-market prep. I got my guys in here in the back, Joel, Dennis. Dennis ready than ever. Joel and I looking for some news. And what do we need? We need a Dennis. Come on. That's why we got him. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's get into it. We got Morgan Stanley, some earnings. We're going to talk about ISIG. Did you guys see that? Was that a short squeeze? What happened there? Let's find out right here on Pre-Market Prep. You guys smash that thumbs up. Let's get it started.
Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Where is Santa? Where's Santa?
Santa came Monday.
He's been coming for 6 days straight. He never stopped coming.
Yeah. Little bit of a win streak snapped yesterday. Not by much. Yeah, we were down.
Barely.
4 1/4 handles. Tight range overnight, 15 handles, 47, 90, 50. A little bit of a pop. That nothing up there really. Just nice round number, maybe 47, 90. Pre-market low 75.5. That's above the low from yesterday at 70, 50. So we're just hanging out with the double close area. Nothing special. Crude in the red by 44 cents to 75.54. Gold hits resistance. Boom, 18.20 down 19.20 at 17.91.60. Silver back under 23, down 40 cents, 22.72. Little risk off here. Bitcoin down 9.30 at 46,008 1/4. Ethereum futures, they're in the red by $91 at 37.32. Triple D.
Stop.
What is on the radar? Did you work all the way to 8 o'clock last night?
No, I did not. I actually quit early, and that is a rarity, so it's slow. But it's kind of holiday season. It was my sister-in-law's birthday. They're having a little get-together, small get-together. Don't worry, Ontario, we kept it under the maximum 10 people, so just to keep within compliance of rules. And it was in a garage, so open air to a certain extent. But, yeah, so I did quit early. It's slow. It's been slow. We are in full holiday trade here right now. Yesterday, you could really feel it. But there are outliers, and there are tax loss sellers that are running rampant right now. I'm going to tell you, the stocks that have been underperforming in 2021 are really underperforming in the last couple of days. And if you're early on this trade, you're too early. I still have the list. I'm glad I haven't went shopping yet because I'm telling you, these stocks keep getting cheaper. It's looking like I'm going to buy these things Friday night. Friday on the close maybe, just to take them for the January effect. And maybe it's going to be wrong. Maybe they're just going to continue to go down forever. They're all oversold, but you just look at the Cathy stocks. I mean, Cathy did not even get a sniff yesterday where, we've had a 3-4 day rally in S&P. Look at where SPY was 4 or 5 days ago. We're looking 460. We're up 3.5% since Cathy, ARKK, is basically flat in that time period. Actually, maybe even down. So there's definitely tax loss selling that is still hitting these stocks. You can look under the hood. You can see the stocks are getting hit. Teladoc gets hit yesterday, which is obviously a big Cathy holding. You can just go through them all. I mean, all that entire list that we've built here continues to get
It gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
Well,
Peloton is now $35. I do intend to buy Peloton probably Friday at the close. Maybe everybody's going to front run me. I don't know, but that's been the play. That's like the timing that I'm looking for on it. I'm hoping it doesn't ramp up before then. It actually sets up really well if it continue to show weakness. I mean, and this is one thing. It seems like this market in 2021 really went a lot more simplistic. And what do I mean by that? It's like, buyback and they're ripping them. It's simplified where, the logic paid off really. In 2020, logic was just out the window, but in 2021, logic kind of paid. The value stocks came back, valuations started to come, a little bit matter a little bit more. A lot of logic applied, and a lot of your seasonality trends really applied all year. And we saw, even to, the ramp up and then the sell off in early September, which was a seasonality thing as well. I mean, seasonality traders actually had a really good year. So the seasonality says January affect those stocks sometimes get dead cat bounce. I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it.
Would you consider, and I know you don't like doing this, like going half and then doing another half? I mean, because
You know why?
how
Because
come?
you'd be getting really hit. So if you're too early, if they started to show some life, if it started to show like if these stocks were showing me that, yeah, people are trying to get ahead of this trade, then I might do that, Joel. But I'm telling you, it's not showing me that. I'm showing massive like selling pressure on all these names that are weak in 2021. Just go through the charts. I mean, Peloton's a
Let's do it.
classic
Let's do it.
example. Go to Peloton, new low on the move. And you just go through that entire list that we've been starting to build. There's a few that have held up better, but even Fastly, which was holding up, starts to break down. FSLY, I put that one on the list. Hood, HOOD. You
Oh, I
think, okay, well,
know.
it's consolidation station. Maybe it's consolidating. The tax loss selling
I
is
don't
gone.
know about that
There's some
hood,
Johnny
man.
come lately tax loss. And you know what? We're bucking the trend. I mean, we're going to be, at least I'm going to be January 1st. I'm going to be bucking the trend on a lot of these things and saying, I think they're oversold. I think the tax loss selling is going to be gone. I think there could be a relief pop in some of these names. But there is still 3 days.
Can I
There's
tell you my
today, tomorrow,
concern?
and the next day where there could still be tax loss selling coming in, unless you're Canadian, because then you got to be done actually today. So if you're Canadian,
D+2,
today
yep.
is the last day you can sell for your tax losses and actually hit the 2021 year, because in Canada they work on settlement. So different story.
And one thing that I want to mention about Hood is that I know that you have these growth stocks that are a little bit longer, right? But I think Hood falls into that IPO kind of growth stock, and so I'd be a little bit careful with those IPOs because I mean with IPOs it's all about how the valuation came out, right? I think they were definitely mispriced. We can kind of tell here that Coin and Hood were probably mispriced when they came out, debuted at least. And now you're seeing these really suffer. I mean, I think at least personally, I would wait a little bit longer for Hood and Coin than I would wait for like a stock like Roku, Zoom, or Peloton. Just my personal
Because they're
opinion.
past the
I got
IPO
a whole
stage.
list. I'm just going to do a blanket of them all. This is my intention.
Basket
Whether I'm going
trading.
to get spooked out of it or somehow things, but my intentions are, and it's rare that I just talk my intentions, but my intentions are to get long a lot of these beaten down growth names, the names we were just talking about, actually at the Friday close. That's like would be my perfect timing for it. Again, if it starts to show some life, maybe I'll nibble in earlier, but they're showing like not the opposite of life right now. They're showing like massive tax loss selling, and it makes sense. I mean, it's just playing out how you would expect actually from a seasonality perspective to play out. There's people who are sitting there and like, well, I'm going to wait till the last minute because maybe it comes back, and they're like, it's not coming back, and there's a lot of people who are still sitting on gains. I mean, like I said, I've basically sold everything now that I can that was at a loss because it was a really good trading year. I mean, it was one of my best years. Both the last years, 2020 and 2021, were really good. Those were my best years since 2009. So, I mean, there's been some really good trading years. So I'm looking at the tax bill that I'm going to have to pay. And I'm like, well, let's minimize that as much as I can. Let's get rid of anything that has a loss on it. So I did that already. I did a little bit earlier. So there's obviously still people doing the same thing that I'm doing. And
What
what
about
is massive
BABA?
losses? All of these Kathy names. They're all, been hammered. Besides Tesla, which is why Tesla is actually probably not participating in the sell-off because Tesla's actually up on the year. People don't want to sell Tesla right now and book,
Because you have to
their
pay the
gains.
taxes.
Yeah, they're going to have to pay tax. It's the opposite effect. So that's what you're seeing in some of these other names. So that's why I think the trade can seasonality would say the trade reverses itself first week of January. Whether that happens, it doesn't have to happen. And you know what? If it doesn't start showing me, that's a trade that I'm going to want immediate gratification on. If we get in, or like the first day or two, and these things start to just roll over again, I'm going to say, okay, I was wrong. I'm going to eat my losses and move on. But if it can show me a little bit of life, that might even be a situation where I might add to the trades.
Well,
You know what we
Dennis,
did? Two things here I want to mention. Number one, you got a nice setup for Tesla, whether you have a long or a short or whatever. But we just big 4 day run, and we talked about 11.17 yesterday. That was the high on Monday, and it got to 11.19. and it pulled back. Didn't take out the low from Monday, but for you Tesla traders out there, whether you're a weekly or long-term holder, keep an eye on that level because it's had a big pop. And the longs, you really want to see it clear 1120, go 1120 bid, and challenge the 1170 area. I wouldn't look at yesterday's low, 78.42, but I would look at that 2-day low of 10.70.72. You're 30 points away from that. So I wouldn't expect it to give a lot back, but some good levels there in Tesla. And then also, do you remember what happened on the first day of the trading year this year? Do you remember?
No, I don't. What
Got
happened?
market got spanked, didn't
Spanked.
it? Did it open up and go straight down? And we had a big
It's too long
downgrade?
ago, Joel.
Too long
My
ago,
memory.
man.
We
There's
could go
been
back
too
and look at
many
the chart.
Let's
volatile
go look.
days.
Let's go look. Let's go look at the.
Way too long ago for me.
I think it
remember
was
that.
I think we opened up and just tanked. But let me go to.
There's always some crazy action that first. And, maybe that's, one thing, the safer way maybe not to buy them on the Friday close because maybe you get a big washout or something,
Yeah.
people anticipating after, I think you're going to see some strength that first week, but it could show weakness in the first 20 minutes of that. It could show, there could be that washout trade. So that's a consideration too. So maybe you don't go all in Friday night. Maybe you got to just nibble in a little bit, get position, and then see if it's starting
there
to
it
work.
is. There's the first day of the year.
Yeah, show it to
It
me.
was a January 4th, right here. Boom.
Okay.
That was the first day of the year. And
I
we
think
didn't.
you're right. I think
Yeah,
they pulled the rug out from under it.
Yeah.
But then we started to move up after that.
Yeah, they did the
we were
washout to support and buy them all, baby.
That was it. That was the way we started the year. Boom. But we'll see. Yeah, it's a new year, 2022. You got your setups. You're being patient, and I'm extremely patient. So
Should I use the Kathy one? I love this setup. I kind of do actually.
love it
For
too.
real, on her own ETF. I kind of love this setup because you know what? It's going straight down into the end of the year.
What
these
is
things
it?
are going to have the potential to close on their absolute lows. I can't get
This
really a
is so
better seasonality
contrarian
setup
to
than that.
your longer, the way you like to swing trade.
JC Peretz would smack me across the face and say, Denny, you're buying the weakest trash of trash. But you know me, I'm not a big technical guy. I'm just I'm a quant, and I go through and I look through what has quantitatively worked. And I can remember last year, stocks, and maybe we should go look, what was the evidence from last year? But just going from my memory, I think I remember IBM, GE, which were disappointing stocks in 2020, having a pretty good first couple of days of 2020. Was that the case or not? Maybe I'm making it up.
Let me go.
Well, maybe I'm making it up.
Maybe they went contrarian to the market.
Well, what does the first week look like on an IBM? Maybe it's not a good. Okay, he's scrolling back there. Look, we're taking our time. We're getting there.
These guys are taking
Let's
over
see if
today.
there's any evidence.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Beamer did get a pop. Yep.
Did it right there?
Well, there was down the first day.
So maybe we got to wait till that first little washout off the hop, and then they ripped it. What about GE? Can you put GE same thing? I don't remember. I don't know if GE did it or not.
Well, GE was $14 at the time. So.
Yeah, I know. It screws us up with this $100 stock. You're trying to remember.
GE, there you go, baby.
There you go. You had it
double
too.
Bottom.
Yeah, you had it too, and then you ripped for a week. So don't get married to these positions. Although it would have worked, it looked like in January if you held till March. So GE kept going up.
Yeah, GE is not a bad one. I know.
GE's maybe not a candidate this year though, Mitch, because I think GE's actually is it up on the year? GE's up on the year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looking at it from start of the year, right around $86, up slightly.
Yeah, that's so hard, with the reverse split and everything. But
it screws me right up. I'm just looking at it, at his $10 stock, and you got this $95 stock, and it doesn't look like it belongs on the GE ticker. I guess that's what they were trying to accomplish, but we give different ideas. It's different setups, different ways of looking at the market. Every technician's going to say no way, no how, no thank you, because there's easier money to be made. But is there? It's been a contrarian market I'm telling you, I'm a contrarian. Joel, you're a contrarian at heart too. You really are. And I am too. We know Sean Udall's a contrarian. He had a pretty dang good year too. It's been a pretty good year to buy dips, sell rips, sell short rips, and buy dips. It's been a pretty good year.
since we're looking into 2022 right now, let's transition here into our first topic, which is Morgan Stanley picks stocks that are pressured most by supply chain issues. So I'm going to go ahead and read here a little bit from this Morgan report. Logistics costs will remain significantly higher and will be persistent through 2022. Morgan Stanley predicted quarantine and travel restrictions are unlikely to be eased for the key transcontinental routes in coordination fashion through 2022, with little new capacity until late 2023. For companies producing tech hardware, Morgan Stanley is cautious on those elevated levels of backlogs, as well as limited visibility into demand will return to normal. It says it prefers semiconductor firms exposed to auto and industrials. The top stocks for Morgan Stanley on most central to supply chain and tech hardware is, I'm going to read off some names, guys. If you guys want to write this down, you guys can do so. Tech hardware is Apple, HP, Cisco, Lenovo, Hachi, and then you got semiconductors, Samsung, Intel, Infineon Technology. I haven't heard of that one. And then, of course, NVIDIA. Autos and components, you got Volkswagen, Ford, Daimler, and General Motors, Tesla. Well, no, not Tesla. That's Tatla Motors, Renault, Hyundai Motors, and Continental. Software, you got Microsoft, IBM, Dell, and SAP. Insurance, Berkshire Hathaway. Consumers, you got Sony, Panasonic, and LG. Retail, of course, Amazon, and capital goods to wrap it off, Volvo, AB, and Siemens.
You want to tackle any of those,
To
Dennis?
me, I mean,
Yeah.
let's
There was,
focus
a,
on
there was
just
about
the
100
supply
stocks
chain.
to
I
discuss.
know.
There.
I didn't even try and change my charts. You were going so fast on that.
Yeah, there's just so
What's
many.
this? So,
I mean,
so give us the lowdown here. So
yeah,
just,
so the lowdown is really the first part that I talked about, that they suspect logistics costs to remain high.
yeah, makes
They
sense.
also suspect that in key transcontinental routes where shipping, takes place, a lot of these freighters, that they expect the travel restrictions not to be eased up. And so that's going to cause more bottlenecks for supply chains. And so they're seeing it be persistent into 2022
I think so
and
too.
little to new capacity until late 2023.
I think the bottlenecks are going to continue. I don't think it's going away. I mean, think
So
about where we are right now. You've got Germany in partial lockdown. I mean, this Omicron variant, like it or don't like it, there are a lot of countries that are taking it way more serious than we are in North America and obviously in the U.S. And they're shutting some stuff down. I mean, China too. It's got this other variant running, and they look like they're doing some lockdowns as well. So I mean, what does that do? When one, and then you got the other issue is that there's just a lot of people that don't want to work for $10 an hour anymore, and that's everywhere. There's people that are saying, hey, inflation is all around me, it's costing me more money to live, and I don't, and so that's why you get the labor shortage on top of it all. So it's just like the perfect storm still for supply chain issues. So if you're banking that the supply chain issues are all going to go away in the first quarter of 2022, I think you're early. I think they eventually will go away. I think eventually I hope that we're going to get everything, and the chips shortage is going to be gone and all that. I don't think it's going away right away though. So that's an issue for a lot of companies, and
with
still an
that being
issue.
said,
Yeah.
a lot of the high demand, low supply has caused a lot of the inflation. Will inflation go away if we're going to have these consistent supply chain issues?
And inflation, and here's we've set the bar higher too, right? So eventually you're going to see that we're not running at 6-7%. Maybe we start running at 4-5%, and then everybody's relieved, and you could see that relief, that okay, well, it's working. I mean, in some industries, I mean, and I'm not joking, like I was talking, obviously I'm building aluminum, prices, on steel and different things, like some of that stuff doubled, like year over year. It didn't go up 6%, went up 100%. So there are certain things where the 6% figure that they're throwing out there is not even in the ballpark of what we're seeing. I mean, a lot of industries could live with a 6% increase. I was building a house that could live with a 6% increase. Right now, my house, My house build is running 50% over budget. 50, not 50. And that is almost
That's tough.
entirely material costs. But it started as material, but now it's starting to be labor too, because there's people like, like your roofers come in, they're like, and the drywallers, I've said this story before, is drywall price went up slightly, but they're jacking their labor up 30%. And my GC's like, what the hell? How can you just jack that cost up? He's like, because everybody else is doing it. That's what he told him, because everybody else is doing it.
Yep.
And it's an excuse to raise prices. COVID, it's such an excuse. So even in some situations where they're not affected, companies are using it as an excuse to raise prices. And the consumer demand is still there because they're like, well, what are you going to do? It's COVID. You got to pay it. I mean, that's, we're price takers on certain things in North America, unfortunately, because we don't have the manufacturing that we used to either. So, I mean, at a certain point, you're like, do you want the product or not? My protein bars went from $7.99 a box to $11.99 a box. Didn't go to $9.99, didn't go to $10.99, went straight to $11.99. I mean,
people are paying over
sticker
price for cars. Let's just be honest here. I don't know. I was always raised, you don't even pay the sticker price, let alone above the sticker price.
We've never seen that. I've never seen going into a dealership and people are paying above sticker price. I've never even heard of that. But housing,
and used cars.
If you go back 10 years ago, Mitch, housing was the same thing. You never went in and you had to pay, somebody's asking $500,000 for their house. You go and you get like it for $440,000, $450,000, right, Joe? That's the way it was. Now they're asking $500,000, they're getting $650,000. They're getting 150 more than they're asking. Maybe they're keeping these. I think it's a little bit of the game with the realtors. They're keeping the prices low to get the bidding war going. Oh, this one's a real good deal, and then you get like 8, 10 people coming in and going to war, and then the prices just get out of hand.
It's like a trick price.
It's a little bit of a trick price. I mean, even it is for sure. They're pricing them below because they know that it's going to come in, and everybody's expecting to pay more. But I mean, it's the games have changed in so many different industries like that. And you look here and you think, are we going back to the way it was, or is this going to be around?
It's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, it just you don't go from zero supply and zero demand to just boom, supply increases right almost instantly, right, on the reopening everything. Demand, boom, immediate, and the supply takes a while to catch up. On the house thing, someone did make a good point. I know you're definitely the cost, but a lot of people go like 5%, 10%, 15%, over budget on houses. 50% on the hardware, that's way above. Yeah,
that's just COVID, and you can go. And I've got another friend building the house. The same thing. They were supposed to build their house, and it was a smaller house. They were supposed to build it for $400,000. They ended up at $7. It was original budget prior to COVID was $400. So you're scary when you've got your original budget set of $400 and you end up at $7. It's not like $400 and we ended up at $500. $400, we ended up at $700. You wonder why the housing prices, the used ones, are going up, like why the housing market has a bubble and the prices keep going up. It's the build costs that are driving it. The build costs, and those are going to be hard to come back down because a lot of that is labor. And once they jack the prices up on labor, they don't come back down very easily. People don't like taking a pay cut.
People talk about, like the trade of the year, the best investment of the year. You know what mine was?
What's that?
Not building dumping
I know.
land.
That was my worst.
I am like
that's my worst is building a house.
I mean, I am so glad I sat, firm with the, great piece of property, and you just saw it. You just saw it, and I saw it, and I'm like, the price. I am so glad because I would have, been pulling my hair out, what I have left.
I've aged 10 years in this build, and I've been talking about it for a while, and we're still in the thick of it. And every time I get a bill on something, I was like, how is that much? I'm like, we're 30, 40% over budget on this line item and on this line item. And then you're, on the lumber, we were 100% over budget on that line item. And you're like, how is this possible?
Well, we'll continue to watch the commodities, also watch supply chain issues, see if they continue into the next year. Morgan Stanley putting out that report.
And we got to bring it back to a trade here. I think Kramer's right. You want to be long physical stuff. That is what is working.
I agree.
This metaverse, and we're living and we're paying 100 times earnings for some company that we might owe we'll live in the metaverse. That is not what worked in 2021. That stuff did not work in 2021. Kathy got punished because she's betting so much. And maybe 2022 is different, and maybe we go right back into all these growth names, and maybe these are the ones. But real stuff is what worked in 2021, and that's what inflated. So, there's no doubt when you look at Berkshire Hathaway sitting right near an all-time high, he invests in real stuff. That's what Warren invests in, and that is what is working, is real stuff. There's a reason oil was up.
Yep. I took some heat a couple weeks ago, like on the home builders, DHI. I mean, those stocks are. I mean, you think things are going to be slowing down there? DR Horton, right up near all-time highs. Toll Brothers. I think maybe the opposite. Instead of the metaverse, people want a nice fort to be in. They saw what happened, in 20 and part of 21, and they're like, heck, yeah, you know what? I want a nice house. I want a nice place to live, and you know what? Prices maybe aren't going back down. I know there's also some undersupply. I think what you had too is you had a lot of people in cities, and they're like, boy, they living in these little boxes in New York City and paying outrageous rent, not building any equity. Flight to the suburbs. I mean, there's some trends that
That's
started,
a part of it.
and yeah, and it's gonna. I think these trends. I think the home builders are going to continue. You know,
I
would
don't
you?
know. I don't know about the
I
home
think it's been an
builders.
environment, and here's where I'm not that big on the home builders at this point in time, because I still think, there's people who were in it. Like, I was in it, and there's no way to get out of it. But are
Yeah,
you
that's
getting
what I
into
think.
it at this point? I mean, if you're seeing, okay, well, you budgeted, and these same houses were 400, now they're 600 to build. I mean, just throwing out some ballpark examples, because a
Yeah.
lot of these, home builders are building cookie cutter. They build them a lot cheaper. Which is crazy to think that a $500,000 or $600,000 is a cheap house now. But I mean, if you were looking at that and saying, okay, well, I had the money for 400. Now you have interest rates going up. I just don't think people are going to have the money to start paying these higher
There's
sticker
going to be more
prices.
supply.
I
I
think it
think
could
a
slow. I
lot
don't even
more
think it's
supply.
supply. I think it's just, that there's going to be less demand. So I think on the demand side of it, you're going to have, if interest rates do indeed start going up, and you have, all the material costs are higher and the labor costs are higher, and they're giving you a sticker price now on that $400,000 house of 600 or 700 that would have been 400 2 years ago, people are going to say, no, thank you. So I actually think they've got some pull through. That's, people were in it, they signed contracts, they were in it, but I think you're going to see less demand if these building costs stay as high as they are, and I don't see them coming back down anytime soon.
We got
Yeah.
a slow leak going on here in the S&Ps. Nothing alarming, but we've eroded the overnight gains. We've lost our double close area, down a buck 75 in the futures. We're going to keep an eye on that pre-market low at 75.5. Not expecting any major downside. If we take out yesterday's low at 70.50, not a ton in there. But should we do a couple of earnings stocks, because
Let's
they're
go.
not,
Let's go.
not
We'll
they're
definitely go
not doing
into that.
too well. Fuel cell.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's get into the earnings here. We're going to talk a little bit about Fuel Cell. They missed on EPS and sales. Let's go ahead and pull up those numbers here. So the earnings EPS came in at a miss of 7. So a loss of 7 cents, miss of the 4 cents loss estimate. Sales were at 13.9 million, a miss of 21.86 million estimate. So already was heading down and getting crushed today a
New
little.
low of the move. Dennis, you got this one on your list. You're going to get it 12.5% cheaper.
He said
Maybe.
no.
I don't
I
think it
mean,
is on the list. Oh yeah, it is. It's sitting there. I haven't bought it yet. Again, this actually worked well
$5.
right before, because they had that little news. If you would have been long ahead of it, obviously not holding the report, it wouldn't have worked well yesterday, since that news was straight down, straight down, straight down. Again, you have this the same issue, that anything that is really in the downtrend, and that's why even this January effect trade, it's hard to say that these things are going to bounce back 20, 30, 40%. I think we're jumping in these names for 5 to 10%. Maybe in the January effect, because there's so much overhead supply in all these names, and you're going to have that same issue in fuel cell. You're going to have the same issue. It's again just the fact of valuations, the story stocks ended up the 2021 year really disappointing. The story, where we were saying in the beginning of 2021, really story was a driver. Andrew Left was on this show and said story is the only thing that matters. That was the case until about February when stories started to come off. And then an entire year, if you've had a good, cool story, you've gotten lifts off that. But if you weren't really making money and your valuation was nosebleed, those stocks just trickled down and death by 1,000 cuts. And now you look at Fuel Cell at $5 and you're wondering, how in the hell did I pay $25 for this thing back in February? And you're thinking, okay, well, I'll just hold on long enough. This is like literally
It'll come back.
It'll eventually come back. You know what? Maybe it will. But you could ask, in Fuel Cell, believe it or not, 2015 was $400 a share. Do you think it's going back to 400? There'll be a reverse split in here somewhere, probably. There'll be some dilution, maybe. I just don't think it's probably going back to 25 anytime soon. I think if you're buying at 5, you're hoping for 6. I think if you bought at 11 a month ago, you're basically SOL.
Not every story has a happy ending, right?
Most of these story stocks were unhappy endings.
$5 at pre-market low. The monthlies don't give you anything until $2, but I don't think you'll see $2 a day. Keep an eye on the pre-market low of $5. And what else we have? Are we actually going to do Kelmine Foods?
Yeah,
we are reaching if we're doing Kelmine Foods.
I'll reach, but one thing I'll mention about Fuel Cell is that I think that some growth stocks are gonna have. There's gonna be some winners. I know that stories didn't do that great in 2021. They did good in 2020, but I feel that now you're gonna really start seeing stories also play in some factor into fundamentals also. So you have to pick winners, stocks that are actually gonna be making that money, and hitting that bottom line. I think for a while there, I don't think anybody was worried about the bottom line. Everyone was looking at top line growth.
That was it. Yep.
What could you do? What could you do next? What could you do next? What could you do next? Now it's going to be about not what you can do next, but what are you doing? Like literally, how's your business today? But I think that's what we need to kind of be looking into going into the next year.
I mean, that's what, we were probably early and obviously wrong on a lot of these stocks. But, the one thing that, Dennis liked to say is valuation doesn't matter until it matters.
It matters. It started mattering in the middle of this year, and it has mattered all year. It's why I don't invest in this kind of stuff. I trade all of this stuff. You've got to separate it. Traders, if you can learn anything, you don't want to get married to these nosebleed valuation stocks. And when the story turns, it ends ugly. And you know why we know that, Joel and I? Because I did it all wrong from an investment standpoint in 2001. I was making money trading like crazy, and I was like, oh, you're in 2000 and you're buying, this hot tech fund. And I bought the Qs. Even back in 2000, I bought the Qs, and I can't remember the price of the Qs then, but I think I bought like $110 on the Qs. And you can say, oh, you're a genius. You bought $110. I think it went down to 30. I think the Qs, if you go back on the charts, I can't
go back. But yeah, my 20 year.
And eventually did come back, and obviously, maybe long term I was okay there because it was indexed, and and maybe that's a better way to go. But I think I can remember holding the Qs. I had bought it $110 in like the year 2000. And I remember looking at $30 and I was down 75%. I was like, investing sucks. That's what I was thinking back then.
Well, here's the beginning of 2002.
Well, look, it's down to 20. So it even went lower. I remembered 30. No, it got down to 20. And I think if you go back, it got to 120. So we went from this is the Qs.
Yep.
We went from 120.
You're literally right on it.
I'm just going from my memory. Pure from my memory. But I can remember because I paid like $110 for the Qs, and they went up to like 120 in a week. And I was like, wow, 50. Man, that's good.
Genius.
Yeah. And then I kept them I still have those Qs. I think I still have those original Qs. But they took a long time to get my money back. Look how long. So go out in the charts. The Qs didn't hit 100 again until when? 202015?
Yeah,
15 years later to get my money back. 15 years.
We're talking
nice hold.
82% decline.
Nice
and it took, before it got back to 120, was 2017. So a lot of these gains, and believe it, that we're in a bubble and everything. Don't kid yourself. I just don't know where to go, like with the investment dollar. So that's why I stay invested. Plus, I don't want to pay the tax, but I don't know where to go.
Where do you go?
Where do you go? You got Tina trade. So
All right.
I think you still got to stay in some value names. Like I think the Warren
Yep.
Buffett's still the approach, but
I think it's a
it's
mix,
tricky.
right?
Investing is hard. Investing is hard. There's no doubt. It's hard.
I think it's slowly moving more back to a traditional mix. I think
I
for a
think
while
so.
there, 2020, you were definitely not traditional. You were like, you could have gone 80, 90% growth and you would have done really great. But now you're kind of moving back to where you can have some value names, some growth, and maybe even some bonds. What? All right, guys, let's talk about Cal-Maine Foods. I know we don't talk about this stock often. They missed on their estimate of the EPS. They got a 2-cent estimate, missed of a 27-cent estimate. So big miss there. Sales at least beat 390.9 million beat versus a 390.2 million estimate. To me, that shows a little bit of inflation maybe in the sales, but not what you wanted to see in the EPS.
I
What do you
don't
guys
know. I
think in
think
here?
the stock, I think this is one that isn't going to get murdered here. I think it's a big move for a stock that's got a really low beta. So I think you got huge support in 34,
Yeah,
35.
right
I
there.
think
30.
if you're selling it now, I don't know if you're panicking and selling CALM down
What
7%.
happened
I think you're
yesterday to
panicking.
this thing? Look at this. People are jammed.
They
Look at
jack them. This is my trade. I've been telling you this for 10 years on this show. Maybe not 10 years, but 8 years since we've been doing this show. You own the things ahead of the reports. Look at this. Just straight
Yeah,
up
they
into the
jacked them
report.
right into it.
Right into the report.
Jeez.
What
Yeah,
do?
because there was
You
no
sell it
way.
right before it reports.
Buy the rumors,
It's
sell the
because of you,
news.
Triple D, because it's earning stocks. No one knew. So it was Fuel Cell and Cal-Maine Foods.
Well, Fuel Cell topped early because they had that
Yeah.
news, and then that one wasn't a great
Look
example
at
because it was
that
actually
one.
down into. But this is straight up jacked into the report. It's like the only company reporting, so I guess it's predictable. There's nothing else to jack.
It's back at
So people are
35
like,
and
oh,
a
I got to
half.
get something.
Reset, triple bottom at the 35.50 area. You did go lower. I mean, you want to wait for 34 on this one? Go ahead. I mean, 1, 2, 3 monthly lows at July and August, but you're right back. It's a reset. You just gave back all those gains here. Boom. Anybody that got, was shorting into that might be a little bit happy, but I agree, 34, 35, but I'm not rushing into this one. What kind of food do they make anyways, Cal-Maine Foods? Do you know?
Honestly, I'm not too
Did
sure.
what did they say? Did they say something about inflationary pressures or something? I just wondered what
No,
they
just the sales kind of points to
sales
that
were down?
something. No, well, they beat on sales, yet missed by what 25 cents on their EPS. So to me, they're making
The
higher
problem is the food
margins.
stock. They probably got squeezed too. I
Yeah,
mean,
higher
this is the
margins,
problem.
right?
Higher wages.
Yeah, you're
Higher.
getting squeezed. Restaurants and food stocks aren't in a
Mhm.
great position either. You can say, oh, it's defensive, but from the food perspective, but they're getting squeezed too. So, and the restaurants especially. I mean, I've been bearish restaurants for a while here. I know it's been a bad call on some of these names, but I mean, you look at Brinker. Actually, maybe it hasn't been that bad a call. DRI's come back. I don't get that. I'd sell that.
Looks like the chat is saying eggs, eggs production. So who knows? Those eggs getting expensive, guys. Be careful out there.
Everything. Yeah, I think they're like $5 a dozen now or
Yeah,
something in Canada.
yeah,
It's like,
and don't go with the organic brown ones. That's gonna be like $10 at least.
yeah. My
All right,
brother-in-law's got egg farms, so I can get those. I
let's talk
got
a
an
little bit
inside
about Tesla.
connection there.
Let's go to Tesla here. We'll get Jim on in a second when he joins us here, but let's go into a little bit about Tesla. Today, Tesla rose 1.4% in pre-market. Following the news that CEO Elon Musk completed exercising all of his stock options for the next year.
He says he's done. He
He
says
said he's
officially
done.
he's done now because we keep
That's what
saying like, oh yeah,
that's
he's
what's put
done, and
out
then
there.
he's not done.
You know how that one goes. It could definitely change, but
He was saying like a few days ago, I think I'm done, and now it's still coming out. He's selling more, so I don't know. I hope he's done. Joel, you were to point out double top from yesterday. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I think that's a good level. I mean, keep an eye on that. It's had a big run. It was a good level yesterday, and now it's back under 1100. I don't know if your market's a little bit weak. I don't even know if you're going to see that today. I talked about this earlier. I wouldn't focus too much on that low from yesterday, but I think under Friday's low of go up to the daily here of 1070.72. I think that's where things, if Tesla's going to break down, I think that's where it would be.
I'll definitely keep a watch on Tesla. I think yesterday we had a great day by Rivian. Let's take a look there to see if Rivian can continue. Um, these are stocks to definitely keep on
There's
watch.
some news on Rivian, isn't there? That they're laying some truck
Mm,
until 23.
Let me look into that right now. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know,
I heard that
man.
too.
Yeah,
Again, it's nosebleeds.
Yeah, it looks
So,
like
but
the
yeah.
this is
what.
one that everybody's down in too. So, do you get a relief pop in early January? Maybe. 120 would be like my target if I was to buy this. Not saying I'm going to. I don't have this one on the list because it really hasn't been hit as hard as some of the other ones. But if this gets any pop, that 120 level is like the Rock of Gibraltar up there. That looks like a great level to put a short on, doesn't it, Joel?
Oops.
Reaching to my technical analyst
So
or
I got
IBM.
the news here for you guys. So what was said was that they won't be building the R1T pickup truck with the max pack battery option until 2023. They're going to build their standard one with a standard battery, so you can expect a lower mile range. This is another reason why Lucid was looked so positive upon when they finally reached that 500-mile kind of their battery pack actually goes 500 miles. So I think this is something to definitely keep in mind. Some of them are being able to be successful right off the back. Looks like Rivian's looking into 2023. Might be that they need to develop this a little bit more to get it to that 400 consistency, right? Because you got to actually test this. It's not just what is said, it's actually run the car and see if it can get to the 400 miles. Looks like we lost Joel there for a second there.
Joel.
He'll be right back. We'll get him back on. His
I
camera
don't know
went
what
down.
to say on Rivian. I think I'd be a seller of rallies on it. I think you could have a little relief pop in January. I think that rally is to be sold. I think that rally is probably to be sold eventually in all of these stocks. I just was hoping to get ahead of it.
It's kind of tough that, I mean, for a short, did we fill the gap here from the other day? That was the earnings gap.
Try that little gap,
106. Yeah, tried.
117.
I
Not
guess you
quite,
got to
no.
lean on that 106. I mean, you don't want to let it 107.49 2-day
I
high.
don't be
Maybe,
short anything like high growthy into January
yeah,
though. So I think maybe
102.87.
today in the next couple of days, but I think one of the high growthy names. I still don't want to be short them in January for the fear of a little reversal.
Yeah, I would
I know I'm a broken record
unchanged.
here, but
Yeah,
when I'm
no,
convicted about something, I'm a broken record.
yeah, I don't. It's good though. I mean, because you've been talking about it, and you get your setups for Rivian. I don't
I'm
know.
trying to get set up, and and Rivian's not on my list. So people keep asking, "What the list?" You want me to just read it to you? I read you the
Sure,
list. This is the potential for a January effect. Obviously, nothing can happen. As you guys bring me more tickers in the chat, I write it on the list. I look at the chart. If it's beat up and down significantly in 2021, it makes the list. So right at the top of the list is Unity Software.
Guys,
I
get those
kind of like
pens
that
out. Get
more
those
just
pens
of the
out.
story stock. So. That's not necessarily at the top. It's a random list of just writing stuff everywhere.
nothing there, boy.
GENI, which was a big sports betting play, that one's on my list for the potential bounce in January.
Don't
These
say
are
it
all
was my
you're
play,
gonna look at this,
Dennis.
you're gonna be like, these are the ugliest looking charts you ever saw. They're all gonna have the same thing in common. So that's what Fastly's on the list, FSLY.
Okay.
SoFi's on the list, SOFI.
All right.
I just put Fuel Cell on the list because it's got the hell beat out of it. So I'm like, maybe in January you get a little relief pop. I got Ballard Power on the list, which I have a small position in my retirement account, which I wish I didn't have right now. I probably should just have dumped that, but I can't. When it's in my retirement account, I don't get the tax loss benefit from it, so I held some of those losers. Yeah, SoFi is on the list twice apparently because I see there. ARKK is on the list. That's been covering them all.
What's her ETF? I
What's
see.
that?
What's her ETF?
ARKK?
No. The one that the one she most recently started.
Oh man, I don't
CTSU.
remember.
You made a great call in it when it was.
CSTU?
Is it
I don't even
CSTU?
remember. I don't even
Yeah.
remember. The new one. What's the new Kathy ETF? Does anybody know?
Yeah, I
Chat
haven't
will
paid
know.
attention to it.
CTRU.
Oh.
Thanks, Eric.
CTRU.
CTRU. Okay.
Yeah. That's held up. It's held up
Well,
okay. I don't know. That's not on the list. I'm
Okay.
just going to go through Doximity, DOCS. That's on the list.
There you
I
go.
own that one.
Yeah, Joel.
I had
That's a good
Macy's on
one.
the list. I've already struck on Macy's, though. So I bought Macy's early just because
Okay.
Macy's more of a valuation play. I just thought it was getting oversold, and it's actually, I think people are still buying stuff. So, and again, I'm playing a little bit of reopening. I'm already in Macy's. I bought it 25.15 like 3 days ago.
What
So,
about Best Buy?
I put it on. I put it on not so much for the bounce effect, but just I actually like that from a valuation perspective. So that'd be a different list. I actually like Best Buy here at $99. I think it's actually been oversold, and I think the valuation's attractive. So I don't mind that one.
Okay.
Going back to the beaten down, nosebleed, and valuation names, though, Hood is on the list. These are all junk too, by the way. Like I'm not getting married to any of these positions. Not that they're junk, but they're so out of favor, and they're still nosebleed valuations. Mara is on the list. MARA, obviously Bitcoin plays $80. November, it's $34 now. That's on the list. Peloton is starred on my list. So I like full on want to play the Peloton long.
I got one to diversify if you want.
That's like it's got the double star, Joel. I tell you that technique. You know, you 3-star, 4-star level. It's the only one that's got stars beside it. So PTON. I'm not in any of these either, by the way. So I'm just
look at this
list,
ugly
not
one.
in any of these names.
Body,
but I'm intending to buy these in either late Friday, maybe early the first day. Maybe there's a washout right off the hop. As soon as they start showing a sniff of strength, I'm ready to strike. GRWG, and I mean a sniff of strength in January. GRWG, which has just been absolutely murdered. Grow Generation. Look at these dogs that I'm talking about. I can't believe I might actually put a portfolio of these dogs on. CGC, Canopy Growth is on the list. Dog of Dogs as well. I've got Alibaba on the list. I got Baidu on the list. I got Triple BY on the list. That thing's been a dog of dogs too. I even got Palantir on the list for you Palantir lovers.
Finally, Palantir down at the bottom end of that trading range.
Why not?
DKNG is on my list.
There you go.
I've read you the whole list pretty much. And if you got something you want to add to me, Path. Somebody's adding Path.
I got one to
that's
watch.
Not as beat up.
It could possibly move with Peloton. Has been beat down really bad. Beachbody Company. Look at that. That's down to $2.30.
What is the symbol on that one?
BODY.
These are the potential. I don't know now. Maybe you're reaching on Beachbody because I don't know if I want to go on Beachbody, BODY. But I added it to the list. I added the list to watch. There's so many. The chat's really good at this. They got all these names.
They got them all,
too.
Bro.
I mean,
because we're all holding them.
could be on the list, too. They're not on my list, but they kind of make sense. ACB, Aurora Cannabis, there's a good one. Dog of Dogs. Hated that stock basically since birth, but it's actually I played it along a couple times in there. SDC, there's a good one. Smile Direct, that's making nobody smile in 2021.
Oh man, and
maybe
I saw
it makes some people smile in 2022. Again, this list is for January.
Oh, this SDC,
not for today. The tax loss selling is still happening.
I saw them advertise like some lame bowl game or something. I saw them advertising, and the same thing with Peloton. I mean, these companies are in the tank, and they're still spending money on advertising. This Smile Direct Club. I mean, how low? I mean, it's had a couple lows in the same area.
That's
250. The most you can lose is 250.
Yeah, there are. What about our buddy Ride?
What's going on with Ride?
I haven't looked after $3.81. I added Ride to the list.
Just buy some
more. I'm
more,
saying
man.
Ride might go from 380 to 450. I'm not saying, but that would be like a 20% move. That'd be a great trade.
Look at Ride. We forgot about that.
Ride. We haven't seen Ride forever. Want to take a ride? Wow.
Yeah.
Penn is on my list too.
Be careful.
But I already own Penn. I'm a bag holder in Penn. I refuse to sell it. I didn't need I ate half the loss. I held half. That was the worst time. I put in the long-term portfolio. It was the worst time placement in the long-term portfolio in a long. It literally that Portnoy thing happened like 2 days after I bought it. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, that Penn move
that just destroyed me.
Dennis, from that moment, it didn't only destroy Penn. It destroyed DraftKings. It destroyed Genie. It destroyed all the gambling stocks.
Yeah, it really did.
Just turned the story.
I mean, COVID, Omicron really did a number on that too. I mean, we got 3 hockey games last night, but there's still cancellation.
I mean, but if you look at the gambling numbers, the numbers are going up. I can tell you that right now. The numbers are going up, yet the outlook isn't going up. Why is
I
the
think
outlook
you're
not
gonna
going
see it.
up?
I think you're gonna see relief pop in these names in early January. And the timing of it is critical. So you almost kind of want to wait till you see a little bit of life. Like you start to see because Joel's right. Maybe you get that opening like January 1st. They flush these things farther just because the people who are speculating, oh, there's going to be and the market likes to punish the max amount of participants. So I think you gotta almost just be ready with it, and you're going to start seeing a few of these names go. You're like, oh, it's on, baby. Like that's where even those short squeeze stocks, like you'd have remember all of a sudden AMC and GME start taking off, then Bed Bath and Beyond goes, and it's like, oh, it's on, and then you go to that short squeeze list. I mean, people want to go to that short squeeze list every day. There was 2 or 3 trades last year that were good off it. If you held those short squeeze names, you had a long squeeze in most of those names. So
Let's talk about a short squeeze that happened yesterday,
Sure.
or at least potential short squeeze that was put out there. ISIG shares climbed yesterday after social media post that a potential short squeeze could happen in the stock. Let's take a look at how the stock performed. And man, what a run, and then a pullback.
I know nothing about this story. I know nothing about this stock. I know nothing about this company. But all I know is you had this huge move from just looking at the chart from 5 to 35, assuming that was some type of something going on there in social media, whether it was Reddit stock or whatever. And whenever you've had a blow off top like that, and you catch everybody, it seems like they usually have trouble getting back to those highs. I think it could even have trouble getting to yesterday's high, 23.39. So I think rips are to be sold on this. I think when we look at this stock and knowing nothing about the company and nothing about the fundamentals, just from a technical basis, I think we're eventually going to look at the stock in single digits again. But that's a ways away, and the path to get there, who knows? I don't trade any of this stuff though. I don't trade hardly any of these social media names, the Reddit names, because they're wild and it's hard to control the risk on them.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on this one.
All right, guys, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead now, bring on the one, the only, the man that called one of the best calls of the year. His name, you guys might know him by Hot Stocks. Can anyone throw his name in the chat? I know him as only one. Lukey.
Oh man, Luke's here.
What's up, guys? What's going on? I'm
boot camp. What are you doing, Luke? How are you?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
Talk to us some stocks. What do you got on your radar? Talk stocks with us.
Okay, well, first things first, I've got a little bit of a rant, and you guys might have already covered this.
Go.
Yeah. Canadians get a holiday for New Year this year, but Americans don't.
Oh, we got all the holidays, Luke. So we've been on holiday. I feel like people are looking at me like, what are you doing working? We had Monday off because Christmas fell on the weekend, so we got Monday off. Then we got Tuesday off because Boxing Day fell on the weekend. So we got Tuesday off too.
Boxing? You don't know what Boxing Day is?
Oh, Boxing Day.
And everyone puts on boxing gloves.
And then they get New Year's Day too.
Yeah, we get that
New Year's Day and you just punch them.
Americans got 1 and Canadians got 3. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. I follow the U.S., so I'm with you, Luke. I follow this U.S. calendar for the holidays, and obviously I didn't get those days either. And everybody's laughing at me here all around me. They're like, oh, look, Denny's working here yesterday.
Well, Dennis, next time you go talk to like US SEC or one of those government bodies that you are giving testimony to, tell them we need a New Year's holiday every year.
Yeah, what is that rule that they can actually get around that? It falls on a Saturday, but if it falls on the last day of the year, so if New Year's Day falls on a Saturday or New Year's, then you don't have the holiday at all. That's crazy.
What about next year? We don't get it next year, Sunday. I know we were asking about it, and
brutal.
I thought I saw we got Monday off next year, but I don't know the last trading of the year.
We do. I did spend the energy to go figure that out. 368 days.
Okay, Luke. Luke never takes a day off, but I got an award for you, Luke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's the most improved dresser of 2021.
Yeah,
he's always good dressed. I should get that award.
Dennis,
I'm the poor dressed one, and I try to dress.
Luke, I don't know. He's all,
he always looks good.
No, he used to come in his jeans and his tennis shoes and his t-shirt.
They said dress how you feel.
Look at the hair. He's got
he puts a little of that stuff in his hair.
He looks like
Luke always looks good.
He's handsome, most improved dresser. Where you are you on a Stitch Fix or something? Where are you getting those fancy clothes at?
Oh, that would be a good one. Maybe we'll channel
There's
check
another
pitch
one for-
picks for next year.
Let's just say the Bumble account is beeping.
Yeah. All right. Well, really
All right,
quick,
look,
guys. I'll let you wrap up, but I'm just coming on for 2 seconds today to say, and I'm going to share my screen for a second. There we go. Is it flickering in a weird way, or
A little bit. Let me see if I
Yeah,
can
it
fix that.
does.
Reshare
Ugh.
it for me.
Yeah.
And
Okay. I am boot camp Luke today because
Boot
from
camp Luke.
9 to 3, so 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern, after pre-market prep, we are doing another one of our Benzinga boot camps. The point of the day is just to have a super linear education course. We're going to start from like very, very basics of what is the stock market, how do you interact with the stock market, all the way through swing trading, looking at charts, etc. You see the agenda up on the screen there right now. Again, we're going 0 to hero. We're taking 6 hours on a slow volume week to take everybody through this. So stay on the Benzinga YouTube channel, 9 a.m. Eastern. I am going to be getting us rocking and rolling, and that's why I'm boot camp Luke today.
Awesome.
Like
I
always.
guess I'll be talking to you tomorrow then, Luke, huh? Looks like you got a busy
or
day.
after 3.
Got a busy day. Okay, that sounds awesome though. So then we stay right on this channel for that. Or
Stay
where do we
right
go?
on this channel.
Don't
Right on
gotta
the
go
channel.
anywhere.
We go right
That's
into
the fun
education.
part.
Sounds good.
All right, definitely, guys. Smash the like. We're gonna give you guys some free education today, like we always do here. You guys, if you guys want to go to it, definitely, I'll put up the link in the chat. Last thing, let's do maybe some stocks from the chat. We got a couple minutes left, 4 minutes before I get Joel to run out of here, and Dennis to go ahead and do his thing that he does every day. This guy is a killer, man. Doesn't stop. Even when he's sick, he was here. So
No.
If you
You
want
had
to
to tell
bid,
him.
if you want to bid in Peloton to hit, just contact Dennis first, and then
contact Dennis first. Don't contact Joel.
Not in. Yeah, Joel's
no, I
Joel's
can't-
not
Joel will tell
selling.
you to
can
stay
we
away.
can we ban Peloton in 2000?
I got
after
a
you
double
do
start
your
for
little-
January. Double
Joel.
star for January.
I need to see you on the Peloton. We need it. We need.
It's so hard to even go on it now. I
Oh,
try.
that's how bad it
it's
is?
hard.
It's hurting.
No, I mean
I can-
back
I
in the
can cover
pool, I
all
can't
these
even-
tickers, almost all these tickers in the one mighty thing. If the chart looks like hell in 2021, I'm interested in January. That's it. Not interested today. Not interested tomorrow. Interested January the 1st.
All right, so I'll read some names off. You tell me if you're interested.
Because Hood's
How's
all
that?
over there, and I'm like, okay, I already talked to Hood. Interested in a week, not right in a few
All
days.
right, I
not
got
right
you.
now.
You ready? I'm
Yeah.
gonna read off some names here.
Go,
So
go.
let's go with Shop first.
shop.
Yep.
God, is that down in
SHOP?
2020? I don't even know if it's been. I think it's up. That stock just bucked the trend. It's
Yeah.
probably because the big Canadian tech stocks, so they don't have any other place to go. These Canadian tech investors. It's probably gonna. I actually I don't know what to say. This sucks. I'll throw it to you, Joel. I have no idea what to say on this chart. Middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean for this one, and this is E14 fit. If you want to strike in this thing, what you had the move from off the low. Let's see, what was it? 100? Let's just call it like 150, 180 point move, 90. Maybe 1360, 1370, halfway back of this move. So if you want to get in, I mean, I don't know what you want to risk. You don't want to risk down to the low of the move. But if you think this is the bottom of bottoms, and there was just a little pop and a retracement, then we're going to turn back up, and let's keep an eye on 1360, 1370.
I actually love this name. I know it's not maybe exactly what we're agreeing to here, but big reason why, and let me try to get this to focus in, is that one thing that happens with Shop, and I'm not grabbing everything here. Hold on. There it is. I wanted to show you guys how many things have shown up here from my deliveries. Phone's not picking it up. Sorry about that. But pretty much I have like 30 or 40 deliveries that came through other services and then were transferred to Shopify so I could track it better. And so to me, this goes and shows how many retailers are using it. So like Express, Petco, NFL Shop. I got it from a couple sports different places, Nike, BH Photo, a whole bunch of retailers that are using Shopify to get you that information to your home. I think this is one thing that they're doing really well. And I think that's why you're seeing the company continue up.
Awesome company. can't say enough good things about the Canadian Shopify. Just the valuation just keeps me out of it. I was in it at one time. Remember, I bought this thing, back in 2020, Joel, at like 300 or something like
Yeah,
that.
then you
And
sold
then
it.
it doubled. I went to 600 in like 6 weeks. And I was like, what's your saying about the gift horse in a mouth? I was like, I just doubled my money in 6 weeks and I sold it. It was a
Sold.
horrible sale. The thing kept
Sold.
going at
Hey,
1,700
I'm gonna
bucks.
take off. If you guys want some beaten down biotech stocks,
Ooh.
I'm gonna be on with Laura Chico from Wedbush, Wednesdays with Wedbush here, and she's got some stocks, some biotechs. If you want to put some of them in on the trash list. So no PM show today, right? Because of the event.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'll reach out to you if I'm able to put it on. But for right now, I would say no.
Yeah, because the thing only goes till 3. But all right,
Yeah.
reach out to me later on. Everyone,
Definitely.
have a good day. Back with you tomorrow morning.
All right, guys, this is gonna probably do it for
Yeah,
us. I'm
'cause
gonna
we gotta
let
get ready
Dennis
for the
get on out
event.
of here a little early. Go focus on his trading. Do what
Holiday
he does
trade
best.
is what I'm saying. Holiday trade. So expect thinner markets. Overall market not to maybe do much, but some of these tax loss selling could still continue because we still got a couple more days of it yet.
Thank
That's
you, Dennis, for giving us your list today. You guys smash that thumbs up for Dennis literally reading off from his list there for you guys of stocks that he's looking forward to potentially for a January run. All right, that's going to do it for us. Up next, you guys got the boot camp. And if you guys are looking for live trading, don't go anywhere because I still will be live trading right there in the chat and talking about some strategies, maybe talking about what's being talked in the boot camp, how we can learn and be better traders. We can always improve. So get on over to the boot camp. I want to see everyone over there. You guys smash the thumbs up, and we'll see you next time on Pre-Market Prep. Yes, Spencer will be back next week, guys. He's just taking a week off. I feel like he deserves it. You know, we all put in the time. I took last week off. Spencer's taking this week off. So definitely smash the like button, support Spencer, and support Benzinga. Up next, you guys got the boot camp, and definitely go tune in, guys. I think you guys will definitely learn something. All right, let me just make sure that we got this set up. I want to make sure that the redirect is 100% done here. Bam, bam. All right, guys. One thing I will be watching, though, is a short of potentially ISIG. So if you want to hear about if I potentially go short on ISIG, go ahead and jump into the boot camp. I'll let you guys know exactly if I take that trade. Till next time, hit that like.